Hey guys, welcome to this little tutorial on how to beat the game with 0 golden bananas. You might be surprised to find out that this isn't actually the quickest way to beat the game. It's actually quicker to do it with 1, but that's nowhere near as cool as what I'm going to do in this playthrough. So this is the file I'm going to use. It's empty right now. A couple of things I need to do here. First, obviously turn on story skip. Nobody wants to watch those cutscenes. And for the purposes of this playthrough, I'm going to turn on infinite oranges. I know this is a cheat, and it's kind of cheap to use it, but there's a bunch of glitches that I'm going to show off which require oranges, and if I run out of them, then I'm going to have to reset the game and come back in and edit everything, and it's just a huge hassle. I'm not going to turn any other cheats on, just that one. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to here, I'm going to play the intro story cutscene, and as soon as I see a flash of blue, I'm going to press A again. That's going to bring me back to this menu, but the cutscene is going to be running in the background. And while that's happening, I can take advantage of it and do a bunch of other little things which are going to bring across certain things from multiplayer mode. So the first thing I want to do is try and time this so that I can exit like that. Okay, there's no music playing, I know it's worked. So I can just jump in here and start the file. Now remember, the DK Isles intro cutscene is playing in the background while I'm doing all of this stuff. And that's what allows me to do what I'm about to do. So now that the file has been created, I can just exit the game. I can't reset the game because then the cutscene that's playing in the background would stop, and I don't want that at all. So I'm about to do some things on the menu really quick. What I'm pretty much going to do is do some things in the mystery menu and then some things in the multiplayer part. And it's going to bring across the guns for all of the Kongs into single player, which means I'm never going to have to bother visiting Funky, which is pretty cool. First thing I want to do is view the file that I created just to make sure that that's the file that the game is going to write to. So mystery menu, Rambi Arena, just enter and exit. Don't ask me why this works, it just does. Kong Battle, press start on player 2. And I'm going to play the intro cutscene again, just to cancel all of this. And believe it or not, that was all it took, and I now have every gun for every Kong, including the ones that I don't have unlocked. As you can see, I also have sniper scope, I have all the upgrades, I can use homing ammo if I have to. So yeah, don't have Diddy, don't have Tiny, don't have Chunky or Lanky, but I have all their guns already. So that's pretty cool. That's called the Funky Weapons glitch. And yeah, it just brings across certain things from multiplayer mode, as I said. The other thing that it brings across is the fact that I also have Simian Slam, the move that Cranky's supposed to give you after you do the training barrels. As you can see, I can do this already, which means I could leave the forest using that if I wanted to, but that's silly. I need to finish the training barrels anyway because I'm going to have to buy other moves from Cranky later on, and he won't sell them to you unless you do all of these. So, another reason that you have to do these is because the game doesn't actually let you dive down until you've done this training barrel. It doesn't let you throw oranges until you've done the next one. It doesn't let you pick up things until you've done the third one. And there's no vines in the game until you've done the last one. So they did actually care about this, I suppose. Probably the only time in the whole game where they've actually put in a check like that. So I turned on the infinite oranges cheat just to make certain glitches, you know, less boring to watch, I guess. Which means I have more than 5 here, but you only have to throw 5. But if I throw more just for the hell of it, this thing is going to lag. But that's not that important. It doesn't really make any difference except the timer goes a little slower. So yeah, this one just going to hold B the entire time so that he picks them up and throws them on the first frame possible. Chuck this one at the tree because it's quicker. If you press A as soon as the screen goes black, sometimes he does a little jump out of the barrel before it explodes. But the timing can be pretty tough, and it seems pretty inconsistent. So yeah, as I said, these vines, they don't appear anywhere else in the game until you do this barrel for some reason. It's pretty weird. I'm going to try and hold A as soon as this goes black. Didn't get it. Oh well. So, with that done, I could go through here, because I already have Simian Slam and I could just press the switch in there, but That's no fun. I'd rather swim through this wall. And just swim right into the loading zone. So now that I'm on the main aisle, first thing I have to do as DK is to go and get the camera. This is going to let me use crystal coconuts, which is going to let me quickly get all the coins that I need to get all the moves that I need from Cranky. To sum up this category, it's pretty much getting the moves that you need to do the final battle plus unlocking the final battle. There's certain moves that you need to actually defeat K. Rool. You gotta buy them from Cranky. And then I have to get certain keys to unlock the final battle. And the idea is just to be able to do this without getting a single banana, without accumulating any percentage on your file. So there's pretty much going to be nothing but zeros on the file except for the time. So with the camera I can just leave this place, pick up some crystal coconuts. Right here. And normally at this point I would go and visit Keelumsey, but that's going to open Jungle Japes, and I'm actually never going to go to Jungle Japes. I don't want to go there because, even though that's where Diddy is, in order to unlock him you have to pick up a golden banana, the one in front of his cage. You pick up the banana, then some switches appear, and then that frees him. And that goes against the purpose of this playthrough, so I'm going to have to find another way to unlock him, which is actually really clever, and we'll get to that probably in the next video. But for now I'm just picking up this rainbow coin. This gives 5 coins to every single Kong, including the ones that I don't have unlocked yet. Because I guess he never expected you to have the crystal coconut ability this early. So yeah, that was a moon kick, as we've all seen in the last playthrough. I'm not going to touch any of these pads just yet because there's a funny glitch later on I want to show off. So Angry Aztec, I'm going to try and clip in here using orange lag. When there's more oranges and lag on the screen, the game makes DK move quicker to compensate. So if I time this correctly and position it correctly, I should be able to clip through the door. Like that. And that's one of the tricks that can screw you up. You know, you can end up having to do it a bunch of times, and that's like the reason I turned on the infinite cheat. So I can just clip into Angry Aztec with DK's hands like this. D-Locker proving once again how useless he is. So I was about to say useful, getting myself confused here. So Angry Aztec, the only reason I'm in here, of course, is to go and get Lanky Kong. I could get Tiny Kong as well, if I had Diddy, which I don't, so it's only going to be Lanky for now. But that's fine with me. There's going to be another way to get Tiny and Diddy later on, which we'll see in the next video. So, yeah, Angry Aztec, there's going to be a trick in here that I never showed off in the main playthrough because it wasn't necessary. But it's absolutely necessary here. Wow, the inside music is still playing, that's really weird. Even though I'm in the main area now, I've never seen that happen before. So, I need to get through this wall over here, but it's closed. In order to open it, I need to have Diddy Kong and he plays his guitar on top of the llama cage. I have none of those things, so I'm going to have to find another way through there. Fortunately, this wall back here is really weak. If you backflip into it and then just slowly inch him into it at the top of each backflip, then eventually he should pop through. This trick is pretty inconsistent though. When you see him sort of slide to the left, you know he's through. Even though it totally looks like he is before then, he isn't actually. So with that, I can just roll over here, and I can make it in here. Okay, so I'm not going to bother visiting Cranky, who's over there. Even though you're supposed to have Baboon Blast in order to get into Lanky's temple, there's another way I can do that, which is a lot cooler. And as before, I'm going to avoid all these number pads because the first time that you touch one of them, it plays a little cutscene, and I'm going to use that to my advantage later on to interrupt another cutscene. So this is Lanky's temple. Here's the pad that I can't use because it's grayed out. So what I'm going to try and do is get on top of it and clip through from the top. So I'm going to try and do a moon kick on this ramp. Okay, now that I'm up here, I'm going to try and kick through this thing. Okay, that was not good. And the camera screws me over. It doesn't matter that I'm picking up these little bananas, by the way, unless you get 75. per Kong, then it doesn't count towards your percentage. They're kind of like coins in Mario 64. Doesn't really matter unless you get 100 of them. This moonkick's a little hard to do sometimes, especially when he does that. But it's okay. There's no rush. This is not a speedrun, as I said, it's just a demonstration. Okay. So again, jeez, I just can't get it today. It is possible to just like kick right through this thing, because it's a pretty weak wall. Wow, he was like standing on the air there. I could probably orange lag through the door, but I want to show this trick off. I think this one's cooler when it works. I just don't know why it's not working right now. There we go. So now that I'm inside, I can just walk right into the loading zone and get behind the door. And here's Lanky with a banana for me, which I'm not going to pick up, obviously. So to get to him, I'm going to clip through these stairs over here. This way I don't have to bother getting the llama to spit and opening the gates underwater. I can just clip right through here. And here he is. And since I already have the gun, I can just free him really easily. Okay, so that's one Kong down. I'm not going to pick up that banana. I'm just going to exit the level. I'm going to quit the game because I can't actually leave the Aztec lobby. There's still the wall over there on the outside, which I didn't open, and if I try to exit normally, I'm just going to get stuck behind it and the game will soft lock, and we don't want that. So I had to quit the game, and I can go back into my file, and the next Kong that I'm going to unlock is Chunky Kong. As I said earlier, it's impossible to get Tiny normally without Diddy, so those two are going to be left until the end, but it is only necessary to have Lanky to unlock Chunky. As long as I can make my way up to Frantic Factory, then everything's good. As you saw, still at 0%, still 0 bananas. Still not going to touch those things. So normally, to get up to Factory early, I would use Diddy Kong. He has a trick called the Moontail, which lets you get on top of this platform right there without raising the little thing next to it. I have to do something as DK instead. Thanks to the lag here, sometimes he clips through this thing when you roll at it. That's what I'm counting on right now. I need him to do that. It might take me a few tries. It's not really the most consistent glitch. Okay, so now that I'm in here, I can use this ceiling to do a moon kick. If I could time it better, then it would work. And that's pretty much going to give me enough height to make it on top of that platform over there and let me reach Frantic Factory. Camera's just doing everything it can to screw me up here. Okay, cool. So now that I'm up here, I can just roll my way up to Factory. This is probably like the laggiest part of the whole game, this Gremlin ship. DK's jumps aren't as high as Diddy's, so I can't take some of the shortcuts that he could take, like climbing on those pipes down there. I have to just take the normal path. Okay, so here's the entrance to Factory. I'm still not going to touch that warp. The door is there, but it's fake. I guess they never thought you would get up here without actually beating the boss for Angry Aztec, which was pretty presumptuous of them. So I'm going to switch to Lanky because he's actually going to be useful for once here. He's the only Kong, or at least he's the easiest Kong to do this with. This B locker's in a really bad spot. Normally you can sort of go to the right of him and just clip your way in, but because there's a wall right here, can't really do that. So I'm going to have to pretty much go through him like this and just try and reach it with Lanky's arms. So what I'm going to do to make this a little more consistent is I'm going to throw some oranges and long jump in there. So I'll be like slightly merged with them, and I can reach it that way. That actually happened pretty quickly there. Usually it takes more tries than that. But we got it, so that's cool. So yeah, Frantic Factory. I'm only here to unlock Chunky, nothing else. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time in here. There he is. So in order to get to his room, you're supposed to, let me show you, go over here, hit this switch, and then just like go through a bunch of rooms, and then you're at Chunky's room. I'm not going to do that, I'm going to do something else instead. But before I do that, I want to walk over here because I know I missed some squawk text. So I'm going to use orange lag to propel myself through this wall, and then I can pretty much just beeline it straight to Chunky's room. This is quite a tricky thing to do, but if you set it up properly, it should work. Okay, cool. So now I'm out of bounds, I can just turn around and head forward. And this should land me directly in Chunky's room, or at least the room next to it. Either's fine. Okay, cool. So here's Chunky's room. And I've been careful not to touch any of these pads so far. As I mentioned, the first time you do it in a playthrough, a little cutscene happens with squawks. And I'm going to count on that to interrupt the cutscene. So the first thing I have to do is get up here. If you sort of angle yourself towards the wall and time your jumps properly, you can get up this without a rank stand, which is awesome. So, something that's weird about the switches in this game, if you pound next to them, not on them but just like to the side, and then walk on them, the game acts like you've just pounded them, but there's like a second or two afterwards where you can still move before the cutscene happens. I'm going to count on this, and I'm going to walk off, slide off the pipe, and touch warp 1 down there during the cutscene. And that's going to have some pretty weird effects. So let's do that. Oops. It's too slow. So let's see. As you can see, Chunky is now free, his bananas have appeared. But he's standing right here. He's talking to me. And he's a solid object, and he's not going anywhere. I have to be careful not to pick up that banana, of course. But yeah, he's right there. He looks at you when you move around. And he's not going to leave until I enter a loading zone. But there's something really funny you can do here. As you can see in the tag barrel, Chunky actually is already unlocked, which means I can switch to him now. And as you can see in the background, he's still there. So there's now two Chunkies standing right next to each other. And it all happened because I interrupted the cutscene where he gets freed. It never properly finished, although the effects of it are still there. You know, obviously Chunky's playable now, which is the goal, but yeah. You can sort of merge yourself with him a little bit. This is just really freaky. But yeah, double Chunky. Just another day in DK64. So yeah, that's it for this video. In the next video I'm going to finish up this level and take care of the next part of this really weird route. So let's save the game, and thanks for watching, guys.